Hey guys, wanted to jump in and let's talk about some Palya news. Really fun stuff. Wanted to jump in and actually do this dev answer and question session because the Singularity studio is actually on holiday right now through January 3rd, and the next batch of their questions probably won't be posted until the last week of January, so we have a little over a month before they'll answer any more of our questions. But still really cool that they do these like once a month, once every 2 months anyway. But nonetheless, the November and December questions that they decided to go with are the world outside of town, people asked about, crafting plus time stuff, resource management, managing communities big and small, romancing more than one NPC, will there be role play? Will there be secrets and mystery / lore? And the last one that they touch on is pets. So will we have pets in Palia? And I think there's a good bet. We definitely will. So without further ado, let's just jump right into this. This is a question from Dragon off of the Discord. Can you tell us more about the world outside of town? How different are the areas from one another, such as forests, swamps, or desert areas to explore? And will there be any kind of challenges, say difficult enemies or puzzles for players to overcome in these zones? Also, are there more villages to discover and possibly build a house there as well? And when Dragon refers to more villages, we know we have the core village, like the nice, safe, cozy, where your house is at and where the inn's at and where the restaurant's at. Like, that is what Dragon is wondering. Are there more villages out there? And the Singularity team said, hey Dragon, Palya is a big world with extremely diverse locales we're excited to take players to over time. At launch, there'll only be a small portion of that world accessible, but we plan to continuously expand the playable area over time. We call the major overworld areas outside of the village adventure zones, and their settings will be as varied as you suggest, with distinct flora, fauna, and gameplay possibilities. Where the village is meant to capture the charm and comfort of home, adventure zones are meant to capture the joy of exploration and discovery. Each adventure zone will feature a bevy of new content and features unique to the zone for you to uncover and experience. So really cool. I think like they were mentioning, if there's a swamp area, desert area, obviously there'll most likely be new creatures, new foliage that all tie in with those areas. So very fun to see. And that was Aiden that answered that for us. Coming up next, it is Lazarus asked, I am really looking forward to the crafting aspect, but have seen some games time gate craft keeping behind limits. Is there going to be some type of gating on some of the crafting, whether it is limit per day or some recipes take several hours to complete? Also, FF14 has a unique crafting system that requires you to pay attention and use crafting abilities at the right time, and each craft can be different. What level of active work will the crafting have, or will it just hit the craft button and you get the item if you have enough resources? And they said, hey Lazarus, we aren't committed to a single approach for crafta in Palya. For example, we've developed an involved mini game with our cooking skill where each of the steps involved can affect the outcome. We feel this approach most aligned with the fantasy and skill element of cooking in real life. Simultaneously, some other crafting options are as simple as putting resources into a crafter and letting them do their thing. In this case, we do have an element of time gating, but it's important to note that we mostly time gate crafting materials and not final usable products such as decor and tools. This makes it important to think strategically about how you're going to allocate those resources to meet your evolving needs. That is Bourbon from Senior Game Designer. Coming up next, we have resource management from Faye. Faye writes, with climate change and wildlife protection being such big topics in real world, will the game feature such elements as well? I'm thinking of things like replanting trees, making sure our impact on an area isn't harmful to the flora and fauna living there, or animal rescue and rehabilitation. Follow-up question. While Palya is a fantasy game, are you considering the educational potential it has, particularly for its non-fantasy elements? Faye. Hey Faye, our first priority is of course making sure the game is delivering a great experience to players. However, there are a variety of themes we take into consideration when trying to find the right direction for a feature. One of the themes we think has a lot of synergy with the values of Palya is indeed conservation. This particular theme can be difficult to balance with the game, so focused on acquiring resources to make progress in the game, but we found a couple methods already we think help speak to that direction and are always helping, keeping an open mind on opportunities support in the future. A couple elements that come to mind: players are able to plant new trees as well as grow a variety of crops. Players can progress skills like cooking without leaning on wildlife if they so choose. So that's a good point. If you're vegan, you know, any of that, you do not necessarily in Palya are going to have to rely on hunting wildlife for meat, essentially. So it looks like they're going to try to balance that out for your diet as well, depending on what type of player you choose to be. We're interested in hearing how players feel about these themes and elements, so please share your feedback when you play the game. That comes from Aiden and Bourbon. Number 4 is managing communities big and small. I'm hoping to create a community both within the game and outside. However, many MMOs often require large groups to be competitive. My personal preference in MMOs is to find a small, tight-knit community and enjoy the game like this. And that's typically what Beyond Drew and I do. There's Bold, Silver Fox, Claire, Basic Builder, Drew, I know I'm missing a couple here, Poison Blade, just a couple, thinking off the top of my head. That's exactly how we like playing these games, with smaller, tight-knit, intimate communities. However, I am afraid of potentially losing out on content because my community is not big enough. What is being done to prevent smaller communities from being excluded from content, or are there avenues that smaller communities can take so they can still enjoy the game to the fullest? Molars. They said, "Hi there, Molars. We are focused on supporting neighborhoods large and small. There are definitely challenges with supporting different sized group through any social progression. So the game is intended to have the goals tuned in such a way that the group size is taken into consideration. This will likely not result in perfect scaling, but will make it possible for any player style to be successful and have fun." That is Einar Hug, best hug. So pretty cool. Kind of like, you know how Destiny will take the approach, like if your raid team isn't so large, the waves of enemies, I believe, that come at you are a little different. So maybe Palya will kind of take up that mantle as well. Next up, romancing more than one NPC, from Nomendin Stasis. How exactly would it work if more than one player wants to romance one of the NPCs? Like, how would that look? Would it interfere with anything? Hello, Manamine. Yes, you can romance as many of the eligible NPCs as you want. We are still determining exactly how other NPCs acknowledge these relationships, though. Our goal is to balance realism with the fantasy of getting to explore multiple relationships in a low-pressure setting. So in most cases, quote, dating around probably won't be talked about that much, though the player will have a way to signal who they are dating to other NPCs. And those NPCs may have positive or negative responses to the player being involved in particular romances. But we aren't currently pursuing storylines involving jealousy or cheating. We really value giving players the chance to play the way they want to play, and exploring relationships is a big part of that. Empress Ashes says from Singularity. And then next up, they talk about role play. Do you have any plans to support role players or a role-playing community, as the game seems uniquely tailored towards it. Kaltar. Hey Kaltar, we absolutely believe Palya to be an immersive experience that fans of role-playing would enjoy. We're definitely looking to play a role in helping like-minded players find each other and group up by joining the server or neighborhood that speaks to their playstyle and interests. We also want to offer ways to find folks spur of the moment and party with a passerby, even if you aren't of the same neighborhood. Amelia Mars answered that one. And then Knife Call and Inner Hug Best Hug says, we want to be able to allow players to create or join themed neighborhoods, as well as allow for group chats that are not tied to a static social structure. For example, a voice chat feature we're developing will help people socialize in different ways, not just in your neighborhood, but also in curated groups while you play more casually. As for immersion, we're excited about the different toys, emotes, character control, and the ability to freely choose your costume, because clothing items will not have gameplay benefits. You don't have to worry about choosing your outfit around special abilities or bonuses. You can customize your look according to your specific tastes or the needs of the moment. Very, very cool. Then Kakawet wants to touch on secrets and mystery. I love secrets, lost messages from bottles, books that contain certain myths that you may question, if they may be real, riddles of what could lead to a completely different quest from the typical go bring it, take, kill, a treasure to look for, a tale from the bard, a secret switch to a dark passage. Will there be secrets in Palya? Not necessarily into the main storyline, but like completely optional and hidden stuff for the most curious adventurers. How unexpected will they be? I love the idea of things that make the game somehow unpredictable, at least in terms of how far something can go, like how many fish species are there, or animals to hunt, or seasonal random spawning, skills needed to find more strange stuff, etc. And then they say, Empress Ashes answered, hey, Kakawet. Yes, there will be secret lore items for the player to discover and many mysteries to be unraveled. Some of these will be smaller atmospheric details, but others take the shape of items you find that unlock secret quests or books you can find to piece together bits of the backstory. We want the world to be full of secrets and explore and contemplate for years to come. Very, very fun. And then the last one, guys, we will wrap up with for our Palya November-December dev questionnaire. Team answers are, will there be mounts and pets by Skeleton Cats? And they said so many people asked this. Special shout out to Skeleton Cats, Sloth, and Zero G Shade. Sammy as well, and so many more. We are a huge fan of pets at Singularity 6 and know this is something players are very excited about as well. Additionally, we think pets are a great fit for Palya and would be surprised if we didn't support multiple distinct pet features in the game over time. While we're not ready to confirm any pet features today, they are definitely on our roadmap and looking forward to getting to the point where we can share more, aid it, and people absolutely went crazy for that response. And the team finishes up and will finish up. That wraps it up for December's edition of Ask the Team. We hope that that was lots of fun stuff to tantalize the imagination, and that you are ready to ask even more questions and submit your questions. They are open now, starting back on December 17th. And as a reminder, they said again, Singularity 6 will be on holiday from December 18th through January 3rd, which means the next batch will not be up until the last week of January 2022. We appreciate your patience as the game gathers their strength to come out strong next year. As always, thank you all for keeping us sharp with your question and letting us know what you're most interested in. And so, guys, that's it for me. Definitely enjoyed bringing you guys this little Palya update. If you guys want to see more of this on the channel, definitely let me know in the comments down below. I think it's definitely going to be a game we're going to cover. Hopefully I get in the next early access testing, and maybe we can bring you guys some actual gameplay features. But nonetheless, I'm S.Dan Wolf. As always, thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you. See ya.